That was the first week of 27 years of my life, and that was a good week. I used my time very wisely with that week, because I remember on my birthday, I filled this one and thought, this one's going to be special. So, remember, that's time passing. All that black there is time in my life that's gone, and this is potential time, but who knows, it might end right there. I might not fall in love with swearing, so I've got to use my time wisely. Be good, be present. I think that's the most important thing. Be present, appreciate the life you have right now. Be grateful for the life you have right now, because that is all that exists. This empty square right here is all that exists. The rest, I don't know if that will happen. That's gone. So be right here. Enjoy that. Why get mad? Why get frustrated? It is possible to be above the drama. It is possible to be calm, to be unshakable, to be unmovable. Like Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved as the waves rage around it. How is this possible? Well, there is a Stoic concept called sympathia. So the Stoics believed that in order to achieve the greatness of man, a term they called eudaimonia, which can be translated as human flourishing, happiness, well-being. This term, eudaimonia, was achieved when we live in accordance with nature and follow the virtues of man. So the Stoic understanding of nature is a little bit different to what you think when you hear the word nature. Sympathia. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the universe made rational creatures for the sake of each other, with an eye toward mutual benefit based on true value and never for harm. The way I describe the term sympathia so that it is understandable is that we're all part of this community. So the whole universe is our community. When we do something good for the community, it is doing something good for ourselves, and vice versa. When we do something good for ourselves, it should be good for the community. So if you do something good for yourself and it's not good for the community, then it's a selfish act. Human beings have been made for the sake of one another. Teach them or endure them. Marcus Aurelius said that in the Meditations. So by seeing life through the lens of sympathia, by understanding that we're part of this community, it helps us to see people as our brother or sister or as a loved one. In a sense, we need to love everyone. And because I say that you need to love everyone does not mean that you need to agree with them. It doesn't even mean you need to like them. It doesn't mean you need to allow them to belittle you or do mean things to you. That's where people get this wrong. They hear me say that you need to love everyone, and I describe the concept of sympathia, and they say, well, that just means you're going to get bullied, you're going to get walked all over. It does not mean these things. To love someone means you do what is right by them. And when you consider this in the concept of the whole of sympathia and the community that we're a part of, you do what is right for the community, because what is right for the bee is right for the beehive, as Marcus Aurelius said. So someone is doing bad. Morally, they're doing something bad. And you're aware of this because you know better, you have learnt better. As Aurelius says, if you see someone doing wrong, teach them. And if you can't teach them, don't do that. The idea is that you can see someone doing wrong, you can steer them onto the right path. But if you're unable to steer them on the right path, then don't let it disturb you. How does seeing the world like this community, using the lens of sympathy, how does it make you become a strong character like Heracles or like Marcus Aurelius? You know, these great characters that are admired for their strength of character. They're admired for their patience, their wisdom, their courage. How does sympathia help you be like that? Surely being like this, being so empathetic and showing love to everyone makes you become like a hippie and makes you the opposite of these great characters. But it's not true. Marcus Aurelius taught of this concept so much. He taught of sympathia all the time. Throughout his whole book, he always wrote of it. And remember, this book was for his character. He would read these things to remind himself to be like this. So he acted upon sympathia to build this character that he was. You've been made by nature for the purpose of working together. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8:12. Aristotle said, man is by nature a social animal, an individual who is unsocial naturally and not accidentally is either beneath our notice, or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual. Anyone who either cannot lead the common life or is so self-sufficient as not to need it, and therefore does not partake of society, is either a beast or a god. So that was by Aristotle, who wasn't a Stoic, but it plays into this idea of community and sympathia. So when you see life as this community, you stop making it about you. You stop being selfish. So a great example in my life is when I was growing up, I was very self-conscious when I went out into public. I'd have my head down looking at the floor because I was worried what people would say, what people would think. I was just worried. So I kept my head down and tried to ignore these things. When I understood this concept of sympathia, that we're all part of this community and we've got to show love to one another, I lifted my head up and looked around, and I noticed these people that I was once scared of are actually people that are also scared, people that need help, people that even if they're bad, they have moral blindness and seek guidance. So it helps you to be a leader, it helps you to be above all this drama where you existed thinking that this person has a problem with you, this person thinks this of you. All these things, you're above that. You see it as you're a leader, you can be an example to help these people. So I remember an exercise I decided to start doing is this idea of empathy, where even people that seemed aggressive, seemed like they had this demeanor that was aggressive towards me, I would show them kindness, I would show them my love, because it stopped being about me. It started being about them. Why do they have this aggressive demeanor? Why do they want to pick fights randomly? And I don't recommend this to everyone because some people are out to pick fights. But when I started to think at life in this view, and I started walking past these people at night that would have this aggression towards me, before I'd have my head down and it would cause anxiety and worry about, oh, what if they do this? What if they do that? When I started to see it this way, I would smile at them or nod at them. And it took away all those fears. And it helped me to be a stronger character. I stopped worrying about what people think, worrying about what could happen, what might happen. I started focusing on what can I do to help the situation? How can I be a good leader? How can I improve my character to reflect the society around me? So there's a word, Sonder, which will help you understand this sympathia, this community. And understanding this word will help you to become more empathetic, to be calmer, to not involve yourself in this drama, but to rise above it and be a better character. And I think this is one of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. And just hearing the description is powerful enough to change your life. So Sonder, the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. An epic story that continues invisibly around you like an anthill sprawling deep underground with an elaborate passageway to thousands of other lives that you never knew existed, in which you might appear only once, as an extra sipping coffee in the background, as a blur of traffic passing on the highway, as a lighted window at dusk. So this increased empathy, when you understand that we're all part of this community, it helps you to be like the rock that the waves crash over. Being the rock is not all this cold, harsh, pushing people away kind of thing. It's about being there, being planted, accepting the things that come in life, saying amor fati, loving your fate. When your waves crash over, you stand there unmoved. You observe. You're unaffected by the craziness and the noise. So another way in which this sympathia has helped me drastically is when I started making videos on YouTube and Instagram. Naturally, the more you put yourself out there, the more hate you receive, the more horrible messages you receive, offensive comments, offensive messages from people that I don't know why they send these horrible comments. So I remember someone asked me, she wanted to make her own page like mine, but about psychology, and she wanted to give this advice, but she said, what if someone sends me hate comments? How do you deal with this? And I said, I see these hateful comments as an opportunity to fully express my character, to fully express the power of Stoic principles. I see these people as someone that's struggling. They have this moral blindness, and It is believed by Marcus Aurelius that moral blindness is worse than physical blindness because you're unaware of the wrong you're doing to the world, which in turn is doing wrong to yourself. You're degrading your character and making the world around you a worse place. So I see these people that send me hateful messages and I think, wow, this is a very hateful message. This is a real good test. How can I turn this into a positive? And I don't mean fake, oh, this is nice, see the good in everything, because I know people think that of Stoicism. Now, I was genuinely trying to make good out of this situation. How can I take this person that hates me, that's saying these horrible things to me, how can I make them see life in a certain lens that will help them to be a better person for the world around them? And maybe, with no expectation, they might be a better person towards me. 9 times out of 10, they reply and say, oh no, I didn't mean this. I love your content, I just thought this. Or, oh, I was just trying to get your attention. So 9 out of 10, it's nothing. They were just trying to get a reaction. And firstly, that helps me hugely because I stopped carrying this weight. You know, if I used to see those comments back in the day and goes, oh, this person thinks I look this way or I sound this way or I behave this way or I'm this or that, then I can carry that. And I know people that are sharing this stuff on social media and they carry that with them. They get self-conscious about certain things because of certain comments. So 9 times out of 10, these comments, they don't even mean these things. And then the other one, they're a bit trickier. They normally come back arguing and it goes down a little path of argument, debate kind of thing. And then I express what I mean. And eventually every single person has come out of it positive. And I don't know what that means for the future. I'm hoping that they go on and carry that on. They stop sending these hateful comments to people. Because how awesome is that? Me doing this exercise could help so much. But for me personally, it just makes me unshakable because hateful comments become a teaching lesson for someone else and for me. It's an opportunity for me to really practice my philosophy of Stoicism rather than just saying, oh, if someone says something horrible about you, dichotomy of control, you know, it's out of your control, don't care about it. I'm actually showing people, no, I use these Stoic principles in my life. And as Epictetus said, don't just talk about your philosophy, embody it. Cicero had this to say, as the Stoics hold, everything that the earth produces is created for human use. And as human beings too are born for the sake of other human beings, that they may be able mutually to help one another. In this direction, we are to follow nature as our guide, to contribute to the general good by an interchange of acts of kindness, by giving and receiving, and thus by our skill, our industry, and our talents, to cement human society more closely together, human being to human being. So there's this story of Prometheus and his brother creating life, giving these gifts to life, giving lions big teeth and large claws, giving rhinos a big horn, giving birds wings to evade predators. And every animal had these great things to evade or to hunt, to escape, to find. They all had great tools, but humans were left bare. And they ran out of things to give away and humans were vulnerable. So they seek the help of Zeus. Zeus came along and said, in better terms, said, you've messed up, right, I'm going to give humans these tools, I'm going to give them these. And Prometheus was like, what, you're going to give them all these tools? He says, every single human being has these tools. I give it to everyone equally. They all have access to it. And this was things like virtue, courage, wisdom, reason, community. We were all given access to these things as a gift from Zeus himself. So we're all given these gifts. So to act in accordance with nature, to be a part of this community, this cosmic community, is our gift from Zeus. It's a way for us to access the greater good, to achieve eudaimonia, ultimate human flourishing. It's to become the best version of ourselves, to be a good person, to be a good member of this community, the cosmic community. And there's many teachings that revolve around this. For example, karma. You know, you do something bad happens to you. You do something good happens to you. There's a very simplified way of saying it, and it's not very correct. But the idea is, you know, you do good for the community, that is good for yourself. You do good for yourself, that is good for the community. So sympathia helps you be a stronger character. It helps you be unshakable, unmovable. It helps you to be calm and to be above the drama. I think it's quite obvious when you learn about this. I would just like to make one last comment about strength of character, what it means truly to be the strong character. And I know people these days compare it to like an alpha male or a sigma male. They think certain character traits make you strong. I believe a lot of these things are weakness. It's a way to defend yourself from the crowd, to defend yourself from unwarranted emotions, unwarranted thought, criticism. You don't allow certain emotions to escape because you're worried about what people think. There's a common belief today that men can't show emotions because it's weak. So there's many men out there that are tough. They hide these emotions, but all they do is the emotions bottle up inside them and create inner conflict. And normally, with a lot of these men, comes out in anger and aggression, and it destroys their family unit, it destroys their community around them. And I don't think it's alpha to be aggressive towards your loved ones, to be angry, to destroy your family unit. These things aren't good. And alpha, as you say, is a good provider, looks after their family, looks after the people around them, is a good role model, is a good leader. So I think that starts with empathy. As the Stoics taught, the 4 virtues, the most important virtue was justice, which includes things like fairness and kindness. And patience was considered so highly, revered so highly. So these people today look towards these figures and think you have to be cold and harsh. A great example is of Muhammad Ali. He would walk out into crowds with no bodyguards, none of this, and he would walk out, and when he was asked about this, he said, "What do I fear? I don't fear these people, so I can walk among them." And I think that is like true strength, understanding that you don't need to fear these people because there is nothing to fear. You're respected by these people. Whereas a lot of people keep just building barriers, building thicker and stronger barriers because they get more and more scared of certain things. And yes, they develop certain strengths, but they start to build a bubble around themselves and not allow themselves to be vulnerable to life. And I think you can only truly experience life when you're fully exposed to the happenings of life. You fully embrace life as it comes to you. As the Stoics say, amor fati, you're open to everything as it comes your way. You accept the good, you accept the bad, you take it and you love it. And you say, amor fati, you accept your fate, you love your fate. And that's true strength. So that is the concept of sympathia. The idea that everything is interwoven, all our fates are woven together, and to be good for yourself is to be good for the community. So remember this when you go about your world. Everyone is part of this community. It's not just about you anymore. You can be that leader, you can be that role model that takes care of your community, that be's the good role model. So, if you made it this far, and I know a lot of you made it this far in your last video, you all commented Memento Mori, I appreciate it. It just shows that people are watching, also supports my channel, so I very appreciate it. If you made it this far, comment DOC, which is abbreviation for dichotomy of control. It's a teaching by the Stoics, understanding what is and what is not within your control. I think it's one of the most powerful tools to help you be a stronger and calmer person. Anyway, the reason I say this is I'll be teaching it in another video in the future. So comment it. I know you watched the full video. It shows me that you're one of the very few that make it this far, listen to what I say. So I really appreciate that. I'd like to say a thank you to the YouTube members, Anastasia Zubik and Kyle Smith, for their ongoing support. And if you want to support what I'm doing, then please consider becoming a YouTube member. There is YouTube perks, there's membership perks. For example, I'm currently filming a video about the topic of anger because one of the members asked for this video, and I'm going to go in depth on the topic of anger, how to control it, where people go wrong, what people do right, ultimate guide to anger. It's me just talking in depth on this topic for a long time. There's no fancy editing, no cuts. It won't be as entertaining in a typical sense, this fast-paced media we're exposed to. It'll be very slow. But if you want these in-depth guides, I'll be making those videos for YouTube members. And sometimes I'll be taking suggestions, asking what you want to hear about. So that is a membership perk, and it helps support what I'm doing. So I really appreciate it. And subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, hit that notification bell. That's like a new thing that I've just become aware of. YouTube's like saying it's important, so I believe that it's important. And this video was sponsored by the Memento Mori Life Calendar, which you can get 10% off. I know I always talk about this calendar, but it's truly changed my life and people around me. Every time I fill it, it gives me a sense of gratitude and zest for life, and it makes me stop fearing death, which sounds counterintuitive. By remembering your death, you stop fearing it and you start living fully. It's pretty remarkable. Head over to my Instagram at TheEverydayStoic, where there's 417,000 like-minded Stoics, maybe. A lot of us sharing Stoic thoughts and joining the Stoic community, so that's great. Head over to my personal Instagram at MulliganBrothers, where you see what I get up to, and thank you for watching. And 9 times out of 10, firstly, I reply to these people, send them something nice, teach them about a certain concept that may help in their life. You know, some people drive loud motor vehicles around this area and it disturbs the videos. So I'll carry on. But that's another thing, the idea of patience. You know, these people that rev their engines outside, they test my patience because I'm trying to make a video. But it's good, it's good. I just take a little pause. What's not good though is sometimes I forget what I was speaking about. Okay, these hateful comments. So,